The theory I'm sharing with you is based on my own story. When I didn't know a lot about Islam, I just wanted to know more about it. I become interested in Islam, I want to know more about Arabic, I want to know more about the Quran, I want to know more about the Sunnah, about the history of Islam, I want to know about these things. And before I knew a lot about Islam, anybody who I knew that knows more than me, or doesn't know more than me, one of the first things that happens to you when you want to take your Islam seriously, you just develop this increasing love for any Muslim. And you especially develop this kind of admiration and respect and appreciation for people you see in the masjid. Because they're going out of their way to take time to come and worship Allah. Or they're attending a halaqah, or they're coming early to the Jummah prayer. Look at this person reciting Quran. Look at this person teaching something. Look at all these people learning something. You have this humility towards them. Then you start learning some more. And depends on who you're learning from and what you're learning, you start learning a lot about what makes this understanding the right understanding, and everybody else is wrong. I used to live in New York City, and depending on which masjid you go to in New York City, they would tell you which other places, which other masajid are calling people to the hellfire. Oh, akhi, you gotta be careful. Those people, ahlul nar, ashabul nar. Those people are fi dhalalim mubin. As you learn more, most of the conversation is about how wrong somebody else is. How wrong this group is, how wrong this one is, how wrong that one is, why are they wrong, what are the evidences that they are wrong, what are the refutations of each other. There's an obsession with refuting someone. Why? Because you know what refuting does? It creates tafarruq. And what's crazy is the more people learn, they use what they learn to justify more tafarruq. Allah says about the nation that came before us, وَمَا تَفَرَّقُوا إِلَّا مِن بَعْدِ مَا جَاءَهُمُ الْعِلْمِ. They did not fall into different factions and obsess themselves with being the right one and obsess themselves with criticizing the other groups that are not like them. They didn't do that until إِلَّا مِن بَعْدِ مَا جَاءَهُمُ الْعِلْمِ, until after knowledge came to them. Be clear about what I'm saying. Is it possible that somebody is saying something absolutely wrong about Islam? Yeah, it's possible. It's certainly possible. Not too long ago, somebody told me, I mentioned some books that I've read or some people that I learned from, and whatever resources you guys have benefited from, tell me about them. And somebody mentioned a sheikh, and somebody else says, well, that sheikh is, you should warn people about him because he has deviant ideas. You should be careful not to listen to this sheikh. I don't agree with everything the scholar says. I don't. But that's one of those people that listening to him was the first reason I started praying. It was the first reason I started praying. And he's one of the first people that I heard that I said, man, I wish I knew Arabic. I started learning Arabic because I listened to him. And I have some very strong disagreements with some of the things he said. This is not about names. But the point is, for somebody else to come along and say, be careful, don't listen to him. He's deviant. Because of one disagreement you have with him? You know for a fact Allah will not take any of the good that He does or any of the teaching that He does, and they're wiped out, they're gone. They're gone. This is tafarruq. And the idea becomes, the more you learn, the more you become obsessed with who's wrong and who's wrong and who's wrong. Allah says this is not a new virus. This is a disease that happened with a nation that came before us. وَمَا تَفَرَّقُوا إِلَّا مِن بَعْدِ مَا جَاءَهُمُ الْعِلْمِ. The Israelites, before us, they didn't fall into these factions and groups and contentions with each other until after knowledge came to them. Meaning they used knowledge to justify their contentions. And you know the crazy thing about religious knowledge? My teacher said this to me once, it was so profound. He said, be careful of learning more. I said, why? I want to learn more. He goes, people that learn more, they can justify anything. They can turn anything into justification for what they do, and they can turn anything else into a refutation of what somebody else does. They can twist anything for their agenda. And how does Allah describe that? بَغْيًا بَيْنَهُمْ. This is out of an urge to dominate that they have between each other. It's not actually about serving Allah's deen. It's actually about feeling superior to somebody else, making somebody else feel beneath you. It's a power struggle. You know how companies compete with each other? Businesses compete with each other? Athletes compete with each other? Sometimes these factions become competitors. It's just about one winning over the other. This isn't about serving Allah's deen.